Kind of fast, kind of not. Either way, always running or talking about it. Welcome to the Kind of Fast podcast, powered by Upward Running. Let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Kind of Fast podcast, the show where we talk running, real life, and everything in between.
Whether you are a beginner runner training for your very first 5K or a fun and seasoned runner out there who's been around the block, this podcast is for you. We share tips, encouragement, and, plenty of laughs along the way.
Yep, today we're actually going to break down one of those common buzzwords in our What Does That Even Mean segment called Cadence.
Yeah, we've also got a full news rundown. I got a topic of the Boston Marathon and what the qualifying times are on that this year. We're going to talk a little bit about Nike's new, let's just call it questionable recovery slides that just came out there. And then some jaw-dropping new world records happening in the run streaking world, which you will want to hear about as well.
In our deep dive of the episode, we are going to break down Coach Steen's top reasons of why you're not getting faster. This week, we're going to break down 3 of them, and then you have to come back next week to find the other 3.
Yeah, that'll be good. But before we do anything else, we also want to know that our Couch to Marathon's starting, and we'll talk a little bit more about it as we close up today. But over 70 people are in that program already. We're really excited about that, and there's still room for more, for sure.
All right, let's get into it. Cue that drum roll. It's time for our segment, What Does That Even Mean? The part of the show where we break down a running term that you may or may not have heard of before. And this week, we're going to talk about cadence.
Yep. Cadence is basically how many steps you take per minute when you're running or walking for that matter, but most people think of it as a running term. Your GPS watch probably tracks that for you. And I can tell you, if you go get a gait analysis done, like I've had in the past, they're going to be paying close attention to what your cadence is as part of that.
Okay, so in prep for this episode, I checked my cadence from my easy run on Monday just to see kind of where I fell because I've never looked at it before. I know that's terrible, but I just haven't. And what my watch told me is that my average cadence was 170 steps per minute with a max of 183. And it even told me my average stride length, which is 1.01 meters.
Yeah, and it'll tell you ground time and all kinds of other crazy stats on these watches now, and I assume it's accurate. Who's tracking that kind of stuff? Not me. I don't really pay attention to it. I went and looked as well. I went back and looked at my run from Monday, which was a normal, easy, regular run. I averaged 160 with a high of 171 as my step count on that. And then I went and looked at my last kind of track workout day, which was last week, where I picked up the pace a little bit. And I was running, 10K pace and marathon pace as part of that. And it looked like I was basically in the 170s during that time frame when I was running at that pace, more in the low 160s when I was, easy running or warming up or that kind of thing.
Interesting. So you might be wondering, because I was wondering also, what actually is a good cadence? So research shows, and this actually came from the legendary Jack Daniels that we just talked about on the podcast a few weeks, and his scientific studies showed around 180 steps per minute is kind of what he threw out there. He got this from actually tracking a group of Olympians in the 1980s, and most of them were at 180 or above.
Right. And really, this can change based on the type of run that you're doing. Intervals will bump up the cadence. Easy days probably will drop it down. 180 isn't some magic number. Taller runners have a lower cadence. Shorter runners tend to have a higher cadence. Even elites can range a good bit, in their cadence as well.
So you might be wondering, why does this even matter? Well, because cadence connects to your ground contact time. So basically how long your foot stays on the ground and how many times, you're pounding on your joints. So it really does matter in that regard. So higher cadence means quicker, lighter steps, which spreads out the impact and makes it, a little bit easier on your body.
Yep, exactly. I reached out last night to my buddy, Drew Maccabee. He's a physical therapist and deals with a lot of runners. I think he's becoming one of the running experts here in the city and town that I'm in here in Spartanburg. And we go to church together, just a great guy there. But here's what he had to say about Cadence. He said, Cadence impacts running economy, efficiency, and force production. While 180 steps per minute is a good benchmark, it's not always optimal. In physical therapy, we'll start by having a runner go at a conversation pace and use a metronome to measure the steps per minute. And if they're dealing with hip or knee or ankle pain, it's often linked with lower cadence when you are having those things. So the lower step rate means higher ground reaction forces and less efficiency. A bump in cadence by 5 to 10% using like a metronome sometimes can improve the pain immediately if you're having that.
Wow. That sounds so fancy.
Do you know what a metronome is?
No, I was going to say that needs to be on next week. What does that even mean?
So a metronome is a device that can be a standalone device, or I think you can get it as an app for your phone if you have headphones or something like that. But it makes a beep every whatever cadence you want that to be. So if you put that in as 180, it'll have 180 beeps, per minute, and it just is evenly spaced out there, and you can set it for whatever you want to do on that. So it is an audible cue for you to step in an exercise like this.
That's fascinating. I kind of want to try it. I think that's what some of the like musicians use.
Musicians.
Anyways, whatever they're called, that's what they use.
Well, their music has a natural beat to it, I think, at a certain rate. And so you can go on, say, Spotify, which I subscribe to, and look up specific playlists that have specific beats per minute, which is essentially a metronome with music.
Fascinating. I'm going to try it. But I'm really glad that you reached out to Drew because that really is helpful. It proves that your cadence matters. It's not just some random nerdy number. It actually can change how your body feels when you run. And I don't know about you listeners out there, but I want to feel good when I run.
Sure. Yep. Cadence really about rhythm. The smoother and quicker you turn over, the easier running feels on your body. And if you've got real form issues, I say seek out a coach or a physical therapist like Drew. Instead of like trying to drastically change this on your own, sometimes you can get yourself in more trouble and head more towards an injury if you're trying to change things too drastically or maybe incorrectly altogether. There's drills out there that'll help you with your form and can help you with turnover as well. But I think if you're thinking that my form's terrible, one other thing I'd say is the body will find its most efficient way to move through space. And you do that over time. Like the more you run consistently over time, your form will slightly change as well to make you a more efficient and better runner as you move through time there. But if you really think you got form issues, like I went and had my running form checked at one point in time by a professional, and we talked about some different things that I needed to be doing and different cues I could think about to try to get myself in a better form. But I went to a professional for that. And so I would say that would be a good idea in this area as well.
Did it help you? Like, do you still use what you learned?
I can feel what it's supposed to feel like. And so this isn't all about cadence, but I'll give you the quick rundown. Basically, when in my back stride, my foot stays on the ground longer than it should. Like the guy that did Murph, who did the analysis, said it's almost as if you have like a walking or jogging type form that you are quickly doing instead of a running form at times.
Huh.
And so what that does is it puts a lot of stress on my Achilles and my calves. And I've had multiple calf tears, and I've always seemingly have a sore Achilles, but I've had Achilles issues in the past too, and it's based on my stride. So what for me personally I need to do is get my knees up in the front, which makes my stride shorten on the back end, and then kind of get my legs coming up quicker. And so everything just needs to be more compact and not elongated is what I try to what is the cues for me. And so I can feel myself when I get at a higher pace. I think I naturally get there normally anyway. But there are certain things that I'll do, like in warm-ups or whatnot, to get my knees up higher that gets me thinking about being in a better form now.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I think I'm inspired to go get an official analysis done because my running form is not good.
I don't know that that's true.
Oh, it's my dad. My dad we live, really close to each other. And he was coming up behind me on my run. He's like, Claire, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm running. What are you doing?
Well, I think Drew can help you with that. He does gait analysis.
All right.
So, yeah.
Drew, I'm coming for you.
There we go.
Well, check your watch after your next run. You can go into your cadence and it might help you with your form and it might even prevent some injuries. Ooh, you should drop your cadence in comments.
That'd be
We can
fun.
check it out. Yeah,
we can
that
see
would be fun. All right, Travis, it is time to move on for the arguably best part of the show, the running news section. So let's start with big news out there. This is from Boston. The Boston Athletic Association, also known as BAA, recently announced the cutoff times for the 2026 Boston Marathon. And let's just say that qualifying didn't guarantee a bib this year.
Nope. You had to actually run 4 minutes and 34 seconds faster than the qualifying standard for your age and gender to get in. And that meant 9,000 people who had a Boston qualifying time. They are still Boston qualifiers. We should note that. They are Boston qualifiers. They have met the standard, but they won't be able to get into the race because they didn't meet that cutoff time.
Wait. Okay, how can you be a Boston qualifier, but you can't even run the race?
Because the great thing about Boston is it sets the standard of what, the everyday runners, the top people that are an everyday runner per age, per gender is. And so their qualifying standards, in my mind, I've always thought of it this way. It just says if you can meet this, you are on the more elite's not the right word, but on the higher end of what the everyday runner out there is trying to do worldwide. This is a worldwide standard, and so they set the standard, but that doesn't mean that there's enough spots for everyone to get in the race at that standard time.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine hitting your time that you've been working so hard for and then just to find out you weren't fast enough by seconds?
It's a very real thing for me here in 2 weeks now, 2.5 weeks now. Like, I'm going to be very close. If I run the race that I want to, like if it all goes well, it's still going to be very close to the cutoff time. So it'll be a nerve-wracking year, essentially, while I wait to submit and put that in, assuming I can run the time that I want to, which is not guaranteed.
So you have to wait a whole year before you can even find out?
Well, there's a certain window where you get to submit your application to run it. Once you've run a qualifying time, there's a window where they open up applications, and then like this week, they tell you whether you got in or did not, and they tell you what the buffer was beyond that. So that's why that's newsworthy this week.
Well, to put it into perspective, last year the cutoff time was 6 minutes and 51 seconds, the biggest in a non-pandemic year. And this year's 4:34 cutoff is smaller. And don't forget that Boston actually made its standards harder last year with the 6 number by lowering qualifying times 5 minutes for most of the age groups.
Yep, Boston keeps raising the bar, but that's because the world's getting faster and marathoning is becoming a bigger thing, and more and more people are striving to meet these Boston qualifying standards. And so I looked this up. You haven't seen this yet, but I looked it up because I was curious for my age group. For me, I'm 44, but I'm qualifying at the 45 to 49 age group because the way Boston does this, and this is a misnomer for a lot of people out there, but the way it's based on the age you would be when you actually run the race. So if I qualify, say, this week, I will be beyond 45 when I actually run the race. And a lot of people think it's reversed from that. It's like when you run the race, but no, it's based on what age you would be when you run the Boston race that you are qualifying for. So for 45-year-old male, I looked up what the qualifying standards have been. So from 1990 to 2002, they were the same. So I was
Okay.
kind of thinking you were born in the 90s, right? Am I right about that?
93.
So for this is a history based on your lifetime, right? So from 90 to 2002, if you ran under 325 as a 45-year-old male, you were in automatically. You met the standard, you're in. From 2003 to 2012, they actually moved that back even more. It was 330 for that time. So you just had to run under 330. In 2013, they moved it back to 325. All right, just because of people signing up, that kind of thing, and where they thought the time should be. In 2014, they had so many people qualify at these standards, they didn't have enough room for everyone, and that's the first time the buffer came into this thing. So that's only like 11, 12 years old now at this point in time. And so at that point in time, you had to meet the standard plus run a minute 38 faster than the standard. So remember, the standard's 325, but you had to run a minute 38 faster than that. Until like 2019, it just slowly kept creeping up. And so by 2019, it became you had to run 4 minutes and 52 seconds faster than the qualifying time of 325. So basically, low 320 to get into the race. In 2020, they dropped that standard another 5 minutes. So now the standard's 320. Okay. And that still wasn't fast enough because you would have thought it would have been because of the buffer the previous year, but no, people are getting faster. And so you had to run a minute 39 even faster than the new 5 minutes faster standard to get into the race. So in 7 years, the time went down 6 minutes. Pretty substantial there. 2021, COVID year, odd year for Boston. We'll skip that one. 2022 and 2023, because of some of the things that really happened with 21 and the odd way that ended up being a fall marathon that year. If you ran the time, you got in. Man, wish I could have run the time. Those times. 24, the time jumps all the way down to you had to run 5 minutes and 29 seconds faster than the new qualifying time. 2025, it goes to 6:51, as you just mentioned, which brings us to today's news. Now the standard has been dropped to 3:15 for a 45-year-old male. And on top of that, you had to run 4 minutes and 34 seconds faster than that. And that means you have to run basically 3:10:25 to get into the race. So that is essentially 20 minutes faster than it was in 2013. 20 minutes. That is nearly a minute a mile faster than it was the year I ran my first marathon, which is crazy. So that is, the world is getting faster. And that story is the same across all ages and genders because this time buffer doesn't change per age and per gender. And when they make these changes, generally they're doing it across all age groups and genders there. So, man, tough to get into these. So when people think, well, Boston qualifying, it's always been the same. No, it is ever evolving. That's for sure.
So what this just told me is that I'm not going to be running Boston until I'm 80 years old.
No.
At best.
I don't know what your qualifying time is. I know that you got a little ways to go.
Oh, like an hour and 11 minutes.
Yeah. Or at this point in time, you're about to see some big jumps in your time. There's no doubt about it. Like you're running your best that you ever have at this point.
Man, that's fast. I think my qualifying time was 3:25-ish, I want to say. That might be off by a few minutes.
Yeah.
But I ran my first half marathon in like 3:25. So
yeah, we would need to improve a little bit on that.
Just a little bit.
But it's about the journey. And so you just got to start taking chunks out of it.
Yep. Well, some fun stats to kind of build on this topic. Accepted runners come from 120 different countries, which is a lot of different countries. The breakdown, about 13,800 men and 10,400 women, plus 719 streakers, run streakers. Let me just put a little asterisk there. Run streakers got in. So those are folks who've been running Boston for 10 years in a row. They get an automatic buy-in. Maybe we could be one of them. I say we. Maybe you could be one of those streakers.
Well, you got to qualify 10 straight times
Oh, yeah.
to get to the auto at that point in time. So, yeah, that one's tough to do.
Yeah. Couldn't imagine. All of the numbers that we just went over, how is this going to change up your race strategy for Columbus?
That's a great question, and I'm not fully there yet on my race plan exactly. I've had 3:05 in my head as the goal. I've had some workouts that didn't go exactly to plan that makes me think that might be a little hopeful there as a plan. You know, you would think 3:10 probably gets me in the race because 3:15 qualifying time. If you say 5-ish minutes, 3:10 would be cutting it close, but it would probably get me in. And one of my regrets from Houston was, I came in injured on that one, but I didn't change my strategy at all. I still went with 3:05, and I wonder if I'd have gone in with a 3:10 plan, if I wouldn't have blown up, and maybe I would have been able to fight my way through it a little bit better and come closer to that qualifying time. So it is my current thought that I will go out and try to find the groovy pace. That's official Travis terminology there. It's the pace where the body naturally wants to run on that given day and not just be a slave to my watch. And so if that ends up being at a 3:05-ish pace, then great. If that ends up being 3:08, 3:09 type pace early on, then I'm not going to force myself down to 3:05. That's what I'm currently thinking, but check back with me here in 2 weeks and I'll clean that up as we get closer to the race.
2 weeks. I will hold you to that.
Yeah.
We will figure that out. Didn't they just make it even more hard to get into Boston because you can't run a net downhill marathon anymore?
Yep. There's some races like the Revel series that's out there that their whole thing is we're going to take you to this place. It's got this gradual decline. And through that, you can run faster times. So Boston this last year said that depending on how much elevation drop there is, you either basically have a 5-minute penalty, 10-minute penalty based on running these downhill races. I'd suggest that they shouldn't be qualifying at all at these races. But I'm empathetic to these are whole businesses. Like Revel is a whole business out there that has good meaning people trying to help people get their goals. And it's a whole business that's out there that you'd be crushing. Like there'd be no reason for a Revel race, I don't think anymore, if it wasn't leading towards these Boston qualifying standards. At least that's my thought process. Maybe there's other people who just love running these downhill races, but seems to me that they are, leading people towards that's their main selling point on their website will be, however many percentage of people qualify for Boston. So it is a little bit harder on these to qualify now. Yeah.
I feel like that was the right call though, because if you do a hilly full marathon versus one of the Revel races that's like downhill, I feel like that is the fair and right thing to do. But I keep seeing videos all over the internet this week of people absolutely crushed and crying because they missed their cutoff, or they missed the cutoff time by literal seconds. Thankfully for me, I missed it by 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 13 seconds. So I'm not crying this year, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yep. I am currently, about 8.5 minutes off of, or maybe 8 flat minutes off with my current time. So going to try to take a big stab at it. And if I miss, you might find me on one of those crying videos there if I miss it by a second a year out from now. So we'll see.
Moving on, let's talk about something else. Travis, you alluded to this in our intro, the Nike recovery shoes, which are absolutely the ugliest things that I have ever seen. They just launched their first recovery slide called the Nike 001 or 001, however you want to say it, and they're just not it.
They're terrible looking for sure. They're trying to compete with UFOs, cane footwear, as shoes that you would wear after a run to help your legs recover more quickly. I do not understand the science of this yet. Maybe I need to dive deeper, but not a thing for me at this point.
No. Would you ever wear them?
I can't imagine buying them. Like if someone gifted me a pair and said that it would help my running and help me recover and become a faster marathoner, maybe, but I doubt that's going to happen.
So I did try a pair of the UFUs, however you say them, flip-flops before, and I actually donated them to Goodwill because they were so terrible. They were bright pink. I felt like I was like clomping around like a dinosaur because I'm a tall girl, and these added, I mean, at least 1.5 inches. It's like I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I've never even tried them on.
Okay, you should try them on. They felt good, but yeah, they went to Goodwill. So someone at Goodwill got a steal because they're expensive.
Yeah.
And the Nike, I think, are selling theirs for $90-ish right now, but they're going to up the price to $120, I think, lately. Or I guess after they get done with this pilot thing. I don't know. Maybe if when they improve the design. I don't know. But UFUs are expensive. There's also another brand, Kane Footwear, that's not terribly priced. I think you should start there. Christmas is coming.
I think that my wife thinks I spend enough money on shoes already. So,
well, my hot take is that there is not a single pair of recovery footwear that is pleasing to the eye.
Yeah. So, like, you run a hard track workout in the morning and you come into work, you want to have a decent looking pair of shoes. So, the market opportunity here for another company, what you're saying is make a recovery shoe that you can wear into work on any given day.
Yes. You should go to Shark Tank.
All right, we'll see if we can do that.
That's actually a great idea. I might wear a good looking pair, but as for me right now, nope. Travis, let's wrap up the news segment with a story that is equal parts inspiring and mind-blowing. An 81-year-old ultra marathoner from Washington, Jim Pearson, just set the record for the longest run streak in history.
Or at least that's been recorded and people know about. So on September 24th, Pearson logged his 20,310th consecutive day of running at least 1 mile. That is more than 55 years straight, and it officially pushes him past the previous record holder, John Sutherland, who retired last year. So I've currently got a 3-day streak. He's got me by a little bit.
Just a little bit. So Pearson started this streak back in 1970 after missing a run due to illness, and he vowed to never skip another run. And he said that he has kept this promise through pneumonia, surgeries, and he has even been reported running through the hospital with an IV attached to him.
Yeah, these run streakers are crazy for sure. But this guy is not just a crazy person that makes sure he gets in a mile every week. Every day. He's used to be a very accomplished runner. He had the American record in the 50-mile run in 1975. He's qualified for the U.S. Olympic marathon trials in both 1972 and in 1976. And for over a decade, he averaged more than 100 miles a week. So this guy, he's got a running resume that is tough to beat.
First of all, I cannot fathom making 100 miles a week normal. I struggle at 40.
I've run a few 100-mile weeks in my days, all in my younger lifetime in college, and once in high school and many times in college. But it's a lot of running.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it, but
I couldn't do it now. I would instantly be injured.
Yep.
Like 100-mile week, and you get 3 months off. Great. That's what would happen to me.
Well, here's where this story kind of gets really fun for us. So we have Coach Steen, who is our national run coach at Upward Running, and he actually has a run streak. Right now, he is at 14 years, 1 month, and 14 days. And get this, Dean's own high school coach, Richard Westbrook, is actually number 4th on the all-time list.
Yep, I think he's been on the Upward Running podcast with Dean in the past, too, talking about that. I do believe Coach Dean has missed 1 day during that time. He's talked about it on the running podcast. Upward Running podcast a couple of times in the past. It's a good story. I won't take any of it away from him because he tells it very, very well.
Have you heard the story of when I missed the 1 day of running?
No.
So you don't know this story. So
Maybe I do.
I've told this story on here a few times. I'll try to make it brief, but I had run every day for 5.5 years.
Okay.
And then I got the flu. But I got out and I went down on a treadmill in my basement and I ran a mile every day. I mean, it would take me 20 minutes.
But you did it.
But I did it. And it was miserable. But I got through it. Got to Saturday. By Saturday, I ran a normal run. Everything was great. I was working in the yard on Sunday and just doing stuff. And about 2:00 in the morning, that next day, Monday morning, I woke up. Just shot up out of bed and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to run yesterday. How devastating is that, right? You've run every day for 5.5 years. You have the intention of continuing to run. You just ran through the flu and now I just missed a day. And so I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure out, how do I fix this? I got to fix this. If I get up right now, can I count it as yesterday? And I'm like, well, that's not honest. And then I'm thinking, well, nobody's going to ask, but that's not honest. So I literally, in that moment, I laid back and I thought, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me in this moment? And you know what God told me? He said, listen, sometimes you feel guilty about your running. That you feel, sometimes you start to think, is running too important to me? Am I putting that before God? And that was God's way of saying, you clearly are not too obsessed with running or you wouldn't have forgotten to run. And it was his way of saying, just go out there and have fun. I made you that way. And gosh, it was that one day that I missed is such a blessing today.
I was talking to Dean, and he said even if he didn't miss a day in his 14 years, he would still be like 309th on the list.
Yep, which it's still amazing for sure. But here's what I think is revolutionary now that I've never heard Dean talk about this, and so maybe this is a dumb idea or whatever, but like in the 1970s, like you just have to trust that people are being honest about all that. We got Strava now or whatever other run tracking. So in the future, as these things go on, like it'll be more solidified, I think, than even the trust value that has to go into these things.
I think you're right. It'll be interesting. So seriously, start now if you want a streak. I could start my streak now and I would still be behind, but it's okay.
Here's the last thing I'll say on streak running. For people who are into it, it's a lifestyle. It's a driver in their life as to why they're running and what their purpose is around that. I don't think any of our plans at Upward Running include running 7 days a week there, but there's definitely safe ways to do it. And as you noted, to have the run streak, you only have to run 1 mile during the day on that. And so if you are someone that wants to run, get on a long run streak and you want to know how to do it safely, we've got the guy that could point you in the right direction and coach you through that. So yeah, I'll note that.
Speaking of Coach Dean, we're actually going to transition right into our main segment that is inspired by Coach Dean. So this main segment is actually going to piggyback off of our Thursday night live session, which is a private members only session with Coach Dean live on Facebook or Facebook, YouTube every Thursday night. And recently he just went over 6 reasons why you are not getting faster. We're going to break down 3 of those reasons today. And then we'll be back next week with the other 3.
Yeah, that'd be good. So Thursday Night Live, one of the really unique things Upward Running does, I think, to have access to a coach of Dean's caliber, where you can literally ask him questions, specific things about what's going on with you and your situation, at the price point that we have as far as a membership subscription is. I don't think there's anything out there that's like that. But this most recent Thursday Night Live was, why am I not getting faster? So I think you're going to break down these first 3. What was the first one?
Yep. Number 1 is lack of consistency. Dean says that the number 1 reason that runners don't improve is simple. Inconsistency. If you're running 5 days 1 week and then 1 day the next week, then your body doesn't know what to expect and what you're doing.
Yep. Your body adapts to what you do consistently, not occasionally. Even a simple plan of one hard run, one long run, and then three easy runs during the week is better than any more complex plans out there where you aren't um, doing that consistently week over week, month over month, that type of thing.
Yeah. And so here's an action step for everybody. Pick your run days and stick with them. Track your weekly miles and keep it steady. Aim for gradual increases. I've also heard that keeping your long runs on the same day, your speed workouts on the same day, truly helps your brain and your body with consistency as well. I've actually had a coach tell me, hey, get your long runs done on the day that you're actually racing because your mindset is already there for it.
Hmm.
Yep.
That's good. I've also heard, as it relates to that, like uh, try to do that long run workouts if you're training for half marathons and marathons especially, but try to do it around the same time in the morning that your race is going to be, if at all possible, because your body will get used to waking up, eating, a little bit, and then getting out there and pushing hard in that type of effort.
And to add to that, here is a little mindset trick that I've mentioned before on the podcast, but schedule your runs like you would schedule a meeting with your boss. You wouldn't, or at least you shouldn't, like willy-nilly just go miss or come up with an excuse for your boss. Like, sorry, I don't feel like meeting with you today.
I think it's, we all live busy lives and things come up. You have to work around them for sure. I think scheduling your runs or having a plan for the week as to when you're going to get these things in and trying to stick to that is a great piece of advice from you.
Yep, you don't have to be perfect. Life happens, like you just said, things come up, and that's okay. But if you string together a few consistent weeks, then you'll be shocked about how much progress you make. All right, let's move on to number 2, not easy enough or not hard enough.
Yep, going back to purpose here. Why am I stuck? Why am I not getting faster? Not easy enough, not hard enough. That's a big one, especially for beginners. A lot of times if you're a beginner runner, you find this kind of medium pace that you're running all the time. So it's not easy enough to recover from other runs. It's not hard enough really to build fitness. It feels productive in the moment, but it might leave you in a stuck place from a training perspective.
Yeah, Dean says that your easy pace should be at least 2 minutes slower than your 5K pace. That usually surprises people. But here's the thing. If you're breathless on every easy run, you're running too fast. So those easy miles is where your aerobic base gets built. And we talked about this on one of the first podcasts that we did, talking about zone 2 running and the importance of zone 2 running.
Yep. I think one thing to caveat, we have a lot of people starting Couch to Marathon, which starts with Couch to 5K as part of that. And you could have some breathless runs early on if you were starting from zero, but you're going to get over the hump in, I always say 6 weeks is like a good time that once you're doing this stuff consistently, you'll start seeing the gains there. It might be a little bit longer for other people, but in time, you want to get to a place where you're not breathless on these easy runs. I'll give you an example. Last night, I ran 3 minutes slower than my marathon time in my easy recovery run. That's really 4 minutes slower than my 5K time. And that's perfectly okay. In fact, it's better. It's better in some cases than just a hard and fast 2-minute rule. So really what you're looking for is an effort-based thing like that. I am moving through this run at a place where I am not out of breath and I'm still running, but I am not really taxing the body too much.
That makes complete and perfect sense. How did it feel to run 4 minutes slower?
I do it often, so like it's not uncommon for me. So I would say more often than not, my easy recovery runs are 3.5 minutes slower than my 5K pace.
Wow.
That's common for me. Yesterday just happened to be just a hair slower than that as I move into the taper here. The flip side of this, though, let's talk about that. It's important. That's on the recovery easy side. You also need to practice speed workouts and moving your body more quickly so that you know what that pace feels like for race days and harder efforts. And so that needs to be sprinkled in, and you should be following a plan somehow to talk you through what that looks like and what kind of pace you need to be running at.
Yep. I actually have experienced this firsthand in my latest training block, the one I'm in right now. So before, I truly didn't do much speed work at all because honestly, it scared me. It's like I'm comfortable. I don't want to be necessarily uncomfortable, but it's the best thing that I've done. It's been so much fun, hard, but so much fun. And I can see my progress already, which is, I mean, that's what you want to see as a runner. But don't be scared of the speed work.
Yep, exactly. I think it's a big part of it. And really, I remember you asking me long run or speed work. I picked speed work as part of that. And most people won't. But for me, it's like, all right, if the goal is to get better, let's do the things that's going to get you better. The long run also gets you better, but the speed work, you definitely feel like when you finish one of those, there's a sense of accomplishment and that you're moving forward with your plan there.
So, action step. Keep your easy days truly conversational. And then, on when you are prescribed a hard day or a workout day, do your best to hit what is on the plan. A tip that I like to do on my long runs to make sure that I am at a conversational pace if I'm running alone is I call people, and it makes the time pass.
Yeah, I've done some of that too. If you're using a GPS watch, don't obsess over these the paces that you're running. Just like we were talking about, like Dean's comment is 2 minutes slower, and that's a great thing. But if it's 4 minutes slower, great. You can watch some Kenyan documentaries out there where they're running 5 and 6 minutes slower than their marathon pace on some of their easy runs. So the point is to move at an effort that is easy, but is still running.
Bottom line here is that easy should feel easy, hard should be hard, and mixing the two is truly where you unlock your best potential.
All right, what's our third thing that's going to keep us from being stuck in our training?
Number 3, skipping rest and not getting enough sleep. Here's a tough one, not only for beginners to hear, but for everyone. Rest is training. We've said it before on here, and I can guarantee you it will not be the last time we bring it up either. You tear down your body when you are going through some of this training, but you only build back during rest and recovery.
Yeah, if you are constantly tired or sore, it's not a badge of honor. It's a sign that you're not adapting, and that's your body telling you that you need more time to rebuild.
This is tough for me. Full transparency, I do not do this well. I've gotten a lot better at it, but in my kind of weird mind, if I'm not moving or doing something, I'm not succeeding. But I've had to really work on that mindset on my rest days, which is Sunday. I look forward to them. I have to park myself on the couch and force myself, okay, rest.
Yeah, that's good. And I would also say that your easy recovery days, that's active recovery. That's also rest. And so those are part of it as well. And so good to see that you're maturing as a runner at this point in time. I am only just a half a step ahead of you because I had to learn this the hard way as well. And so definitely can appreciate the recovery days and for me, the whole days off. Dean would never do that. But for me, it really makes my body feel better and really absorb the training that I've been doing. Our action step on this one would be protect your sleep the night after a hard workout, or really anytime. Consistency in sleep also, as in consistency with running, is very important there. So take your recovery runs very seriously, keep them slow, and remember that rest doesn't have to be lying on the couch. A walk or a ruck or some yoga or some mobility work, all that can count as recovery too. We call that active recovery. When you're doing some of that stuff, you get the blood flow pumping in your body, and that's going to give your muscles the recovery that they need. Yep.
Main takeaway here, don't glorify grinding yourself into the ground. Stronger happens when you give your body a chance to rebuild. And there you have it, the first 3 tips from Dean of why you're not getting any faster. We're going to come back next week with the other 3, so make sure you stay tuned. Come back for more. Okay, before we wrap up, I do have to give a shout out to the Couch to Marathon program. We have over 70 runners signed up for their very first marathon.
Yeah. So this is the walk and recruit week that is out there. So the actual training starts next week, and it's pretty special. even if you are hearing this a couple weeks later, I think we can get you into the Couch to Marathon. Still, we can get you hooked up with Mitchell and Dean on how to maybe adapt those first few weeks so you can get called up and get on the same schedule as everyone else. But I mean, it's just a major thing. It's a major like life goal, bucket list type thing for a lot of people to run a marathon. And so Dean and Mitchell have been doing this for a long time. They've trained lots and lots of people on how to do it. So it all starts with getting to that first 5K. And once you do that, we'll get you to your 10K. And once you do that, we'll get you to a half marathon. And then roughly a year out from now, you'll be doing your first marathon. So people should check it out and see what they can do within this program.
So Travis, as someone is listening right now and they are thinking about joining the Couch to Marathon program, what is your number one piece of advice for them?
Well, I'm going to ask you the return question on this. But for me, it would be trust the process. Dean and Mitchell have done this, like I said, thousands of times with the Couch to Marathon there. And so they've got a great plan. They got a great process there to help you do it safely and throughout the year. And so that's what would be my main thing there.
Yeah, I think my main thing is don't quit. This is going to be hard. Even though it is a Couch 2 program, that doesn't mean that it's easy. It's going to be hard because it is hard. You're training to run a full marathon. That's 26.2 miles. That's hard for your everyday runner, but stick with it. Grind it out, and you will surprise yourself about how far you come.
That's great. So speaking of marathons, mine's coming up.
Yeah.
Here real soon.
Real soon. What are you doing? Are you tapering yet?
It doesn't feel like it yet. This is technically my first week of the taper, and because my week is structured in a way, I'm going on a guys trip this weekend out of town with some of my college buddies. So I'm really getting the full week of work in by Friday before I head out of town. And so feels like a normal week at this point in time, but I am backing the miles down 10 miles this week and even more the next 2 weeks. But yep, I'm in a good spot. I'm excited about what's coming and starting to think about what my playlist might be for the race. And so, it's fun time. I really feel like I'm in good shape and healthy and in a good spot.
You planned your guys trip at the perfect time in the middle of tapering.
Oh, I would have totally wished it had been the week after.
Really?
To be honest. But, sleep matters, and sleep doesn't always happen on these things. But it is what it is.
Well, if you guys listening have any song recommendations for Travis, keep in mind he likes theme songs or soundtracks.
I don't know that's gonna be a part of it this time.
Okay.
That was a part of last time, but every race has a different theme to it. So sure, I'm open to other people's thoughts out there.
Yeah, drop your recommendations. I might add them to my playlist too. For me, I had a fantastic speed workout yesterday. I had a mile warm up, cool down, and then 3 miles of interval training, which went fantastic. I mean, just fantastic. My third mile was at a 7:15 pace, and my heart rate was 123. Right. Now, the weather was on point, and I was going downhill, but let me have it.
For sure. So I'm guessing that this is probably your last full week of training, or is it maybe next week? Because generally in a half marathon, you do a 2-week taper.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the plan for you?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're just trusting the plan and the process, right?
I am trusting the plan. I am not asking questions. I am just following the rules here.
Yeah, good.
My long run this week has some half marathon speed work in it at the very end. So I think this will be a good test. And then after that, I think I start slowly backing down on mileage in my long runs. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I'm a little nervous, but stay tuned for more. We're both going to do a race recap episode.
So I hope you like hearing about our races, because like the rest of the month, we're going to be talking a ton about it.
We'll bring you practical tips, though. We'll make it educational. And on that note, we're done.
Yes.
Don't forget, this podcast is powered by Upward Running, a community built to help you run with purpose, stay motivated, and find your people. As always, this journey is more than miles. God is in every step. The good runs, bad runs, good days, bad days, all the days, it all matters to Him. He is with you, He is for you, and He is using this season to grow something deeper inside of you.
At Upward Running, this is where faith and fitness meet, and we'd love to run with you. Join us at upwardrunning.com/kindofast. That's upwardrunning.com/kindofast. And if you use the code kindofast, you get 2 weeks free, and we know that you heard about it from the podcast. And even if you're doing the Couch to Marathon, you're trying to sign up for that here in the next week or two to get in on that, still use the code kindofast if you heard about it here, because we really appreciate it, and Claire will pay close attention to how your year goes throughout the training there.
I will. We will be back next Friday with another episode as always.
And hey, remember, if you like the show, let's like it, subscribe to it, tell a friend about it. I asked you for some reviews last week. We saw a few of those. We need some more, but we do thank those ones that put in reviews last week. Much appreciated there.
Yep. All right. We're done.
See ya.
Bye.
Today we're gonna break down one of those ruzzing. Today we're gonna dang it.
Excuse me, I cannot talk today. Let me start that over. Bye.